thing by this point. Sorry, I hit that while I'm thinking about it. I
Yeah.
think most films are gettable.
If there's a problem, I can always rip the the disc
Yeah, I mean,
and put it in Google Drive.
I'm pretty good at tracking down weird stuff. We just did the no mobile, which was a little bit difficult. We did bed
Okay.
knobs and broomsticks in the no mobile. Have you even heard of the no mobile?
Yeah, we had
Okay.
it at Blockbuster when I worked there. It's just out of print.
Yeah, it was quite difficult to track that one down.
Yeah, we didn't know. I mean, to a degree, I knew some of the stuff we had was really rare, and those are the ones I sold to myself for $1. But past that, yeah, there's a lot of things now that I'm going like, whoa, I had no idea what this
I
was.
I mean, you don't have to kick yourself for not seeing the no mobile, though it was the apparently the last film that Disney was personally involved with. Oh shit! Did I somehow not send him the link? Hold on.
Unless he's in the waiting area.
No, I shut down my Safari so my Zoom wouldn't get all glooped, and
Okay.
I think and I maybe I just clicked enter and sent it like too fast or something, you know.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so hold on, it might take another moment. And now my computer's going stupid again. Ah,
It would probably be better if I got in front of the light instead of behind it.
there we go. Okay.
See if I can make that happen before Luke gets here. I've got movie tickets tonight, so I got to make sure I'm out by 9.
Oh yeah, sure. Which movie?
I'm seeing Creed Part 3,
Oh, damn, they're
which
on
is the
three.
third.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like they're Rocky movies, but they're centered on the son of Apollo
No,
Creed.
I know what they are. I just yeah.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't Rocky die in the first one or something?
No, no. As a matter of fact, I think there's probably going to be more Rocky movies. No, his character has a whole. Now he's not in the new one, but that's because his. I mean, to me, his story arc, for all intents and purposes, ends in Creed 2 because it ties up everything from Rocky 4 and 5.
Let's see what happened now. I sent him the summary twice and didn't send him the link.
All right, now I've misplaced my drink. Oh, there it is. So I remember watching Hollywood Shuffle quite a lot. Don't you remember
Oh
watching it
God,
quite a
yeah.
lot?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm friends with I don't know if you ever watched the Break-In movies, Break-In 1 and 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, Break In. That's okay. I thought you meant yeah, I've seen I have those on disc.
Okay, so Ozone, the guy with the one earring, the really good
Mm-hmm.
blocker. So I'm friends with his son, and he loves like mostly 90s black movies. Like he is desperately obsessed with the movie New Jack City. Like he'll it to the point where he'll bring it into any conversation that we have. But so he was shocked at how much of Hollywood Shuffle I had memorized. He's like, that's not normal for white kids, don't you? And I was like, I don't know that it's normal for black kids either. I think it's a cult film, you know? I don't think it's it's stuff like
Yeah,
New Jack City.
it wasn't mainstream.
No, no, and we didn't know. We just thought it was a really hilarious movie.
It
And
still is. That's a great movie. Yeah.
yeah, so the Criterion version came out, and I have the Olive Films disc, but I'm gonna get the Criterion during one of those sales. I just can't see paying $40 for any movie unless it's like 12 movies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's got apparently the audition lines with from the character of Jimmy, the one that that he's practicing, and then he's there, and all the different guides are trying to read it. It comes with the sides that you can read. So he sent me a picture of it, and I was like, I know these. He was my only brother. I loved this dude.
Yeah, there we go. Honky sucker pighead jive turkey fool. Is that it? Okay, I got some of this memorized.
Yeah. But yeah, he was like, "That's not normal," and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
What is
Um,
normal, man?
well, everybody was surprised that I had not seen the Indiana Jones movies until last summer.
Yeah, I
I'd
find that
seen
mildly surprising.
I'd seen Last Crusade and I'd seen The Crystal Skull, but I had not seen the first three. I of
Hello.
course,
Hey,
or
yes,
first two.
sorry, I had I sent you this plot summary twice when I meant to send you the link.
Oh, okay.
That's why you got that twice. The second one I thought I was sending you the link. Um
Ah,
anyway, we got a bit of a time. We got to finish in 50 minutes. So or
all
at
right, okay.
least, yeah. So
I
I
didn't
guess we'll
figure it would take that long, but I also don't know how big of a fan of Labyrinth everyone here is.
let's see where it rolls and worst case we've tweaked things before so we can tweak this. Go ahead. 86.
Right.
Yeah,
Have you
okay.
pressed record?
Oh yeah, it's been recording and
Okay,
yeah.
cool. I didn't get the notification. In the year 1986. 86th? In the
86.
year 1986. In the year 1986, we danced the magic dance.
With Muppets.
Mm.
We can call them Muppets, right? Jim Henson
Yeah,
directing. I mean, they're scruffier than your normal Muppet, but they count. I mean, Is Yoda a Muppet? Yoda's a Muppet. Frank
Totally.
Oz. Yeah,
yep.
okay. I don't. Okay, just it's not controversial. That's cool. It is Labyrinth today. A stalwart of people our ages and around that age's existence. I guess this is Matt.
This is Luke. I'm not your age.
Oh, I said below or above. But you didn't let me get to call this Sanctuary of Fantasy.
Mm.
I was trying to get that John Lovett's Tales of Ribaldry thing going, Ooh, the Woodsman, which I guess kind of
It's
is
our
Labyrinth.
citadel of whimsy.
I guess that kind of is Labyrinth. So it's like weird horniness and David Bowie's, crotch bulge and all that.
I did it even take a minute to get to that, I think.
I guess right, I will share my biggest anecdote. So I didn't watch this as a kid, but I watched it when I was my early 20s with my then girlfriend, who did grow up watching this as a kid. And amongst her and her siblings, they called a penis a David because of this film.
Oh my god, dude.
And then when he shows up on screen, they're like, look, it's David's David.
Oh,
Okay.
well, Peter, it lets Peter off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
This is deep in my childhood, deep enough that I can tell you, I saw this and Lady Hawk in the theater. I saw one of them at Atlanta's Tara and the other one at Phipps Plaza. I don't remember which is which, but I have distinct memories of seeing those two fantasy movies at the more hoity-toity Atlanta theaters, and really liking Labyrinth, but also being terrified. I guess I failed the test. They say like, how you react to David Bowie and Labyrinth is a test. And I didn't like properly get into Bowie until like 10 years later. At which point I really got into Bowie.
I bet you like to get into Bowie, huh?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay,
hey,
how'd you like that one?
hey, if they say you got to go Donka Dude now, I'll choose 70s era Bowie.
That's a surprise to no one.
Yeah, that's the pick. But yeah, of course, 7-year-old Matt was there for the Muppets, more or less. It's kind of a weird movie to take your kids to, which I think they said on the set a lot too. So
yeah, but often those are the films that kids actually like and remember. Is the one that's not necessarily what you think of as a kid's film.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I did once go see, and then Andrew, don't interrupt. I'm going to do this as a precursor for you. I once saw the Labyrinth exhibit at the Center of Puppetry Arts, where they have a lot of the old Muppets and costumes and stuff. And if I remember, Andrew, you were making yearly pilgrimages to this.
Yeah, I don't know how. We have my family has a membership there, and we have for many years, and so I'm there a lot. I mean,
Right.
I'll know if they moved like a garbage can.
But yeah, I definitely, it was very cool display. I guess that's what happens when your city is willing to have a center for puppetry arts. You get stuff like that. And then there was what was the this was like good like last time I was in America where they had a pretty major Jim Henson exhibit, which maybe did you go? Did I go with you? I know I went with Mark.
There was one in the Puppetry Arts Center, and then there was another one that was a traveling exhibit that was
That
not
was
at the Puppetry Arts
that's
Center.
the one. That's the other one where I think they had some labyrinth stuff there too.
Yeah, now that one was the collection from the Smithsonian,
Mm.
and it was making the rounds, and so it was there. I went a few times while it was there. I was there for a few months, so I was there, yeah, probably 3 times, something like that.
Yeah, I went a little tangled in the brain too, but you and I grew up together. We didn't really talk about Labyrinth, and we talked about Muppets a fair amount, but I don't think we got into Labyrinth much. So what's your history on it?
Well, as it turned out, my parents really didn't like take us to see that many kids movies. The only stuff that my parents took us to see were things that they also thought were cool. So because we watched the Muppet Show at home and we listened to the records and watched the Muppet movies, anything that said Jim Henson on it, my parents were like, "Oh, cool. Well, we'll enjoy this too. It won't be. We won't have to sit through the Care Bears or the Transformer. You know what I mean?" And
Sit through
so,
the Transformers.
yeah, we were. Not only did we like watch Labyrinth a lot, we also watched the making of Labyrinth a lot, which just was a mind blowing experience. And so, it was probably my introduction to how movies are made.
Okay, and I guess we'll get a little deeper into that, but let's do the summary first. I did write it. I'm asking Luke to read it. I mean, I just need the accent, and of course, do it sexy, right?
Right. I would do my best. I'm no David Bowie.
I just like I said, we just need the accent, really. So
Young Sarah is quite the drama queen, lost in her world of childish things. She throws a tantrum after being saddled with babysitting her infant brother, Toby, and wishes him away to the Goblin King, Jareth. She instantly regrets her action and chooses to reclaim her brother from the Goblin City. But to do so, she must navigate the Labyrinth, a place of ever-shifting walls where time, space, and logic all break down. She passes through an oubliette, or bottle dungeon, and the bog of eternal stench, but only with her help of her new friends. There's Hoggle, a troll who is at first tasked to betray Sarah, a gentle giant named Ludo, and an aggressive small dog knight, Sir Didymus. The lot of them pass through surreal mind games immediately surrounding the Goblin City. Enter and face the Goblin Guards. Finally making it into the Citadel, Sarah confronts Jareth alone. Realizing that Jareth has no power over her, the world of the Labyrinth breaks down, with Sarah finding herself back at home, Toby safe in his crib. It seems young Sarah has grown up a bit, but not so much as to refuse a film-closing Muppet party.
all right. So Andrew, when was your last Muppet party?
I think I've introduced theatrical screenings of this movie at least 4 times over the course of the last 20 years or so. I've also introduced a drive-in screening of it recently. So I think probably the drive-in over this summer 2022 was the last time I went to see it.
Oh, I'm talking about your personal Muppet party,
Oh,
like at
my
the end of the
personal.
movie.
Oh no, that's all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume
Do you have?
that's what happens when we end the meeting. All the Muppets drop down from the ceiling.
Should you need us?
But yeah,
Should you need us?
of
Should
course
you need us?
we already talked some Bowie. I guess we should talk about Jennifer Connelly first, just to break things up a bit.
So I know she's done other films, but to me, she's just done Labyrinth and Top Gun Maverick. And like, to be fair, she looks amazing 40 years apart. You got to give her that.
You saw her in Noah, but you probably forgot that movie. You shoved that one down the memory hole.
No, I haven't forgot that movie, but I forgot she was in it.
What else is she in? Requiem for a Dream, A Beautiful Mind. Oh, she's in a lot of movies.
Yeah, she's in like real movies, not ones where like robots smash stuff up or there's fighting goblins and stuff. I
I
don't watch
guess
those. That's why we're changing the podcast
I
to force me to watch those.
I guess that's part of the you're 10 years younger because everybody, Andrew and my age, had a crush on Jennifer Connelly, David Bowie, or both. And then probably a few on Sir Didymus. I don't know.
Oh, and the people like them puppets.
But yeah. So, you know, for someone 7, 8, 9, this is your awakening. You can go with Bowie, you go with Jennifer, you go with both, right?
Right.
But she does inhabit an interesting space here. I guess part of the weirdness of the movie is that she plays kid and adult at the same time, like really well. Like she does a better job than most movies of having elements of both, because usually it's like the child's body acts like an adult, or you know, Clifford or something, right? So
Well, I think it's because this film has a more realistic idea of being like, it's not a clear line. You're a child, you're an adult. Like when you're an adult, you completely give up all the things you liked as a kid, because that's not how it works. And the less, like you said in your summary, she doesn't grow up so much she has to completely stop hanging out with Muppets, because none of us grow up so much we have to completely stop hanging out with Muppets.
but you know, I
we
hang
just
out
have
with
to
Muppets.
we just have to accept that there's other responsibilities sometimes as well. I mean, I'm without even moving from my chair, I've got two big stuffed monsters right next to me. So
I was gonna say I've got a Muppet Show poster to the right of me here. I've got Gay Yoda over there. I've got the Audrey 2 that my friend made for me. There's a Gonzo doll there.
how many times in a week does the Cookie Monster go to a lesson with you, Matt?
I try to keep it sparingly so he's more of a legend, but yeah. Because sometimes kids will be for weeks like, what happened to Cookie Monster? Where's the Cookie Monster? So next week,
Yeah.
like what was it, a few days ago, a kid was like, what's your favorite character? I was like, oh, my favorite character is Cookie Monster. And he's like, my favorite character is blah blah. I don't like the Cookie Monster. So of course I had to go into the next room, get the Cookie Monster to verbally lambast him. So yeah. He makes his appearances when he needs to. um this was my image of David Bowie for like 10 years as well. Like, you know, long hair, weird Bowie, right? I didn't know Bowie was like usually a short hair guy.
Right.
That really threw me
I
off.
mean, that is their usual when it comes to Bowie. He regenerates more than the Doctor. Like, I don't know that there is a usual when it comes to David Bowie.
No, but the MTV generation, which is what I'm part of. You know, we saw him in the there was the Let's Dance video, and also the Dancing in the Street. Yeah, there was a. I mean, he was a fairly constant presence, and although his image did change, he never quite looked like he did in Labyrinth. So it was easy to kind of separate those. When I watched, I didn't think about it being David Bowie.
I mean, I guess the closest Bowie to Jareth would be Ziggy Stardust, but that's different, you know. That's more the kabuki thing, where this is more of the Renaissance fair thing.
Right.
Oh God, yeah, you'd have to rock this costume at a Renaissance fair. Yeah. I'm sure it's been done.
Oh, it's been
a
done.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but never quite as well as David Bowie, obviously. But
well, obviously not. So
we are but mortal men.
How do you feel about him as an actor? I feel like he didn't do much acting, but usually knocked it out of the park when he showed up.
Well,
is it because he's just being
Bowie? He's so strange, right? So he just has to show up and be Bowie. Like, because I mean, one of my all-time favorite films is The Prestige, and obviously when he shows up as Tesla, is he acting? I guess he's doing an accent, but mostly he's just Bowieing. But you don't write him into roles where he doesn't Bowie. So
I mean, he's in The Last Temptation of Christ as Pontius Pilate. That's a pretty intense I mean, it's a Scorsese movie, and suddenly, whoa, it's Bowie. And of course, Zoolander. That's the best Bowie appearance. But yeah, I guess they just had a certain energy that you needed him for. Like, I mean, he started off as a mime, you know, so obviously he did have some kind of acting chops.
Yeah, and what he does here that works really well is of course, he's sexy and powerful, but there is still a slight awkwardness to his interactions with Sarah. That like you do feel like here is this weird magic man who for some reason has fallen in love with this teen. Like it works.
The creep factor. I guess
But that's it.
ultimately,
Yeah, it is a kind of creepy. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I guess he's kind of her id, right? And
Mm.
you can read into what you want that a magicized Bowie is her id. But hey, that's probably true for a lot of people. So, do we talk about the real characters in this movie now? No, so I do like both of those actors quite well. So I'm not.
It is strange to think that there's those two. We occasionally have the baby on screen, and the parents have like a cameo at the start. But otherwise, these actors are just walking around surrounded by puppets. It's great.
That's what they call living the dream.
But what's especially great, not to do this so early in the podcast, if this film was made today, they'd be walking around with CGI characters, and it wouldn't have the same feeling that the character is interacting with them.
What did Brian Henson do a few years ago? It was Happy Town Murders or something.
Happy Time, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did that CGI stuff, or did he go full puppet zone?
It was puppets, but they've done CG assists with the Muppets for a very long time. Where they'll, kind of like how they do BB-8, where they erase the puppeteer.
Yeah, I think even a lot of like stop motion does that these days, right?
Yeah, and so with Happy Time Murders, just on a technical level, it propelled puppetry like really far forward with a lot of the things that the puppets can do. So the movie's fine. I mean, it's funny, but it's in terms of the puppetry, what they're able to do with it. No, they haven't replaced puppets with CG. As a matter of fact, the movie wouldn't have worked had they done that. Instead, they just used the CG to like erase things, mostly.
I mean, and even the recent Muppet movies presumably do that a bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
See, I'm thinking if you were to remake Labyrinth, is it too nepo baby to just hire Brian Henson to make it?
I don't think you remake Labyrinth. I think that's the thing. No, it's such a product of its times.
Yeah.
No, he's really interested in he's more interested in filth than people probably realize, and he got a lot of criticism there on that Happy Time Murders, but he was like,
I haven't seen any of it.
It's hilarious. It's great.
But there's a really Dark Crystal sequel. And that looked like it was using a lot of fairly legit puppetry.
It did, yeah. But I would say there's more CG in the Dark Crystal series. That was a Netflix series. They used more CG in that one than I was maybe expecting.
Okay.
So who, if you were to remake Labyrinth, though, who would you make your Goblin King now?
Who's like today's Bowie energy?
Well, or an energy that would work, because
quite a strange energy.
I already have my answer.
But I do too.
Forgotten his name. He's Kylo Ren.
Oh, Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, no matter how cool and sexy he's being, is always so weird and out of place and creepy. It would be a different film, but I think Adam Driver would do a pretty good Goblin King.
Yeah. Andrew, how about you?
Okay, well, Laverne Cox would be the first choice because Laverne was such an excellent Frankenfurter in the stage version of Rocky Horror Picture Show. And, Frankenfurter is partially based on Bowie anyways. And so that would be but I also think Cate Blanchett would do very well.
Those are both fun picks.
I went with Tyler Perry because we can play with the drag stuff more.
Oh, a Medea Labyrinth?
Yeah, Medea Labyrinth. That's what I want.
I would be the first. I would like push past. I would knock people over to get the first ticket for Medea Labyrinth.
It'll just be the Goblin Medea then. That's yeah. So obviously a different energy in Bowie, but I like more Muppety. I think that's more Muppet friendly.
Oh my god, I could totally recast Labyrinth with just people from Tyler Perry movies. Like that would be. Yeah, we gotta get onto something else before I sit here and make my mental list and then announce it. And like, and who is Aunt Bam? We don't care, Andrew.
Well, okay. Favorite Muppet in this movie?
Is this for me or
Yeah.
Luke?
Right, right, yes.
I was looking at your end of the screen, Andrew, but it could be for anybody.
Oh, okay. My favorite Muppet, yes, Sir Didymus in this movie. I just love his voice and that he rides mostly on an actual dog. You can totally tell when it's not an actual dog. But yeah, the Didymus. Not only is he just a funny character, but I always when I introduce Labyrinth, I usually say this is like Monty Python and the Muppets together because that's really the writing and the humor of it. It's just like the perfect marriage of the humor of those two. And you see how well they kind of work together. And I think he is the most Python character. I
Although
mean, there's
it isn't one of those cases where it's like Terry Jones writes first draft, they do lots of other drafts, but they still credit him in the end, kind of thing.
it might be.
That's
I really
almost
don't
all
know.
films.
Yeah,
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 but
but
we'll give it to Terry because he's got our sympathies.
yeah, the DNA is certainly tracking, right? So
Oh
that
yeah,
I mean, the thumbprint would still be there a little bit. And Sir
yeah.
Didymus was definitely my childhood choice. I'm sitting here wondering if it would still fit as my choice.
Didymus
Like if
is
I was gonna
definitely
do,
up there for me because I love small character who thinks they're big and strong. It's just one of my favorite, like in anything. Um, I really love Ludo just as in terms of the puppetry though. Just I love a
oh
big
god,
monster, a big on-screen
yeah.
practical monster
Yeah,
all day
Ludo
every
has the
day.
best moment for me in the movie because when he runs across the rocks in the bog of eternal stench,
Mm,
they just that's the best
yeah.
part of the movie.
Yeah, I think I'm also kind of flipping over to liking Ludo better. And one of the things is when they're having the siege or the battle of the goblin town, and he kind of comes up out of the building. And I'm
Mm.
Mm,
like, this is the second time Jim Henson's gotten close to a climax of his movie with a giant red Muppet coming out of the top of a building. That's great.
precisely. Yeah. No, if I were gonna put together a great triple feature, it would be um, Holy Grail, Labyrinth, and then A Nightmare on Elm Street. Because
Huh.
Labyrinth, for all of its originality, does copy the ending of Elm Street.
Mm.
Yeah, we recently did the Never Ending Story. And I was like, oh, here's another movie where we're also ending in this weird deconstructing astral space or something. I guess that's a like 80s thing.
Well,
You know,
that was fantasy before fantasy sort of just became it's just real world stuff, but they wear suits of armor.
Mm.
It's like the old Ebert thing about Star Trek Generations, where it's like sci-fi can do anything, so why does it end with a punch up on a bridge? Fantasy can be anything, so why does it end with just dudes and swords?
yeah, and how come they could never imagine black people doing that stuff?
Because it's not historically accurate to this fictional land, Andrew.
Well,
I
again,
was telling
in Labyrinth, I guess we can at least be like, hey, there's only 5 people in this movie, and one of them's a baby,
right. I was just
and 4 of them are
I
supposed to
know.
be related.
being funny.
No,
Oh no,
no, no. I
I
mean,
am on your side. That wasn't a real counter argument.
we just did Conan too, right? Where we got James Earl Jones in a totally bizarre role, but kind of weirdly affecting. So
Oh hell yeah.
enjoyable, just unexpected. Andrew's world is flipped upside down. Andrew is in
Yeah.
the etcher chamber now. Sorry if you're not listening, as you probably are. His video just went the other way, but we can
Sorry.
probably live with that.
It's because I was sending everyone a picture in the chat.
Oh, okay. What's in the chat? Dun, 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 dun.
Christ.
I only see the bottom part of it first. Oh,
Oh
it's like
well,
a whole. Oh, okay. Ah, okay.
Matt,
I
would you
had
like to
to.
describe the comic strip that Andrew has just shared us for the audio listeners?
it's related to fantasy filmmaking, I guess.
Yes, yes. A black kid shows up to Hogwarts, is given his broom, and while all the white wizards are flying around the air, he is sweeping the pathway because Hogwarts can only have one token at a time.
One token student of each race.
Not gender.
Yeah.
No, there was that was just a little segue based on my comment there.
For more of the official Podcastio's opinion on Hogwarts, listen to the recent game show, Hogwarts Legacy Special.
Radio. Okay.
Featuring such rounds as Who Said It? J.K. Rowling or a prominent member of the Nazi Party?
So I feel like Labyrinth is in a better space than that, at least. I mean,
yep.
I don't. There's. I mean, maybe you're about to blow my mind. I hope not, but I don't think there's anything horrible to say about Jim Henson.
No, and he had some of the very first like prominent black puppeteers and black actors on television and in film too. Jim was very forward thinking in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like he's in that Mr. Rogers zone where I've never heard anyone say a single bad thing about him.
Yeah, that's why I was like asking with trepidation before,
No, I've got plenty of books about him, and there's been no, they're unauthorized and authorized, and there's never been any sort of anecdotes about him.
Yeah, I have one on my Kindle that I still haven't gotten around to reading, as well as a Bowie biography I haven't gotten around to reading. Although I have read like 10 Bowie books in the past, so that's not near the top of my list. Done a lot of Bowie reading. I read like Tony Visconti's book, and that one also gets to Mark Bolan. So, which I think Mark Bolan, if he wasn't dead, might have made a pretty good Goblin King as well.
I would disagree. Would not disagree. That would be a good one.
I don't know if he had acting chops though, so that might be an issue, because a lot of musicians can't act. Like when Steven Tyler finally got to do his voiceover, and it was like the most boring voiceover ever. It's like, why didn't you just get an actor to do this?
Yeah, I've run into a lot of autobiographies read by the author where you're like, couldn't they have got someone better than this? Oh, it's him.
So
you do get a lot recently. The issue is you get they get a famous actor in for a job that should have been done by a voice actor.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
that's the classic one these days.
I feel like more productions are starting to figure that out. Like maybe we should, get some voice actors. I think some of the more recent, like actually Disney stuff, not the live action remakes, but their actual animated stuff tends to dial down the famous voices a little more, I think.
Yeah.
Unless I'm wrong.
No, I am. I can't think of a recent it's suddenly I don't remember the names of famous actors.
Well, we're kind of
Tom Cruise is Prince Charming.
Yeah, we're kind of past the point of having a star system in Hollywood. There's only 3 or 4 that can carry a movie.
That is true.
Despite the subject matter, no matter what it is.
It's more the franchise that sells these days, not the name.
I'm trying to think of if we have like any movie star younger than like DiCaprio now, because we mentioned Adam Driver. I think everyone knows him, but it took a second to bring his name up, right? And
it's not like a film would come out and I'd be like, oh, I got to see the new Driver film.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. They've put him front and center in this 65. The ads for 65.
Well, no, he's good. It's just he's like they're not. It's like,
I don't think there's any actor who's like, I don't need to see the film because of the actor.
I would say at one point in time that would have maybe been The Rock.
That's true. Yeah, I probably still have a bit of Rock affection. I still haven't seen Black Adam though. Or Jungle Cruise. Or
that one's great too. I love both of those movies. All right.
Yeah, we've
derailed. What I'm trying to say is the end of Labyrinth copies the end of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, a little bit of that. Less blood guys are. I mean, I know that's not the end of Elm Street anyway, but less blood guys are here. I can get that. This is a movie where we definitely need to talk about the music. It's in a weird place in Bowie's career. It's kind of like got the echoes of his late 70s kind of electronic stuff, but it's like 80s gloss. And this is the point in time where Bowie himself would say, I'm not really interested in making music now, which was clear from about 1984 to 1994. but then again, we played the soundtrack cassette tape of this in the car, like on repeat endlessly. So the tunes are definitely burned into my brain. Magic Dance especially, right?
Well, growing up, even not having seen a lot of this film, like I couldn't hear the word voodoo without following up with power. What power? The power of the voodoo. Hoodoo. You do what? Remind me of the babe.
Right.
Like it gets stuck in the head. Even
Yeah,
if it's not. Bowie's one of the greatest artists of all time, so this not being his best work doesn't make it not great.
It is far superior to his other 80s albums. Before, well, 80 after Let's Dance, let's say the three or so albums after Let's Dance are pretty much hot trash. So the Labyrinth portion, the Bowie portion of Labyrinth is basically the best of mid to late 80s Bowie. I didn't like the ballad, of course, when I was a kid, but not now I like it more. But even on Station to Station, there's a couple of the ballady songs I can usually skip. You know, he does some good ones, but those aren't my favorite, right? So,
Right.
but I do like the ballady song a little more here. Underground, that's a fun little theme song, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like the tunes. I'm seeing here is calling them somewhat substandard Bowie, but still good. So, like you said, great artist.
Yeah. It's
and
like
of
what's
course
the
the
thing they say
baby.
about even bad pizza is still pizza, right? Even bad Bowie is still Bowie.
I was going to say the baby is Toby Froud, who is the son of Brian Froud, the guy who his sketches were the basis of the Dark Crystal and Labyrinth as well.
That's pretty cool.
Well,
I mean, yeah, I guess if you've got to put a baby in the film, you might as well just use one you've got access to, right?
Not a twin.
Oh, sure.
One baby.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it might have. I think it might have just. Well, sometimes it's a fake baby.
Yeah, I don't think that was the real baby they were throwing 20 feet up into the air.
He was like,
No,
yeah,
I think
it's for the movie. It's cool. Yeah, he loves it. He's squealing like a pig.
when you got a fake baby, you have to
sound
make
like-
it extra fake.
You sound like Matty when one of the Japanese teachers complains about him throwing children in the air at work. No, they love it. It's fine.
I love when I'm just swinging him around the room. It's great. Oh, that one kid got kicked in the head. It's fine. He's he's nursing his wounds.
He's writing his name again now.
We're gonna have to redo all the sneaker tying lessons, but
I just made his English perfect.
that's right.
Sure, he forgot Japanese.
But his English is now perfect.
But he now knows violin.
So,
Can I play the piano anymore? Of course you can. Well, I couldn't before.
There's some music too. Yeah, for sure. oh! You were saying bad Bowie's still pretty good Bowie. I was just gonna counter. I think I tried to introduce you to the Beach Boys by playing the worst of their music once.
Right. Well, I think I'm comfortable. I don't know about you, saying the Beach Boys are not as good as David Bowie.
If you were to do an average, like a numerical average, I would probably agree with you. Yes.
But is the best Beach Boys song better than the best Bowie song?
Let's make that thing songs people can know. We'll go Moon Age Daydream versus Good Vibrations. Huh. Okay, I'm gonna have to stew on that one.
Okay. It's the real question we've asked today.
Yeah. That's a seriously existential question for me. Yeah.
So something that occurred to me watching the film this time that I never really thought about before. It's weird that there's a big movie released called Labyrinth. That's not the story of like the Minotaur and the Labyrinth.
That would be for Minotaur, like the
I guess.
escape room, Minotaur.
But like, yeah, it just seems strange to me because it's such it's a high concept Hollywood kind of name, right? Putting out a movie, it's called Labyrinth. What's it about? Different Labyrinth, not that one.
I feel like when I was a kid, and maybe Andrew corroborate whatever word I'm using or not.
Corroborate.
Thank you. There was the wooden box game where you would turn the whole.
Oh, I know the one.
Yeah, and it was called Labyrinth. So maybe that actually would have been more on the forefront of the mind in the mid '80s than the Minotaur.
So what you're saying is that this felt like a licensed film based on a toy. This is your generation's Battleship.
Yeah, it's better in Battleship. I don't think there's a connection, but I'm just saying, like, maybe the association might have been there more with that at the time. So I don't remember if that was actually called Labyrinth, but maybe yeah, I don't remember what they called it, to be honest, because now I'm just picturing the movie logo in a toy box, which I'm pretty sure didn't happen.
See, when I was a kid, the Labyrinth had been outshined by the Screwball Scramble. Did you ever play with one of those?
The what?
Screwball Scramble.
No, I don't know what that is.
It's a similar thing where you got the ball and you got to get across the maze, but they're all different. Like one of them's a wibbly wobbly bit, you got to go up and down. One of them's like a little jump. One of them you go in some tubes. Oh, it's great.
Would that be a good alternate title for this movie?
Yes. As long as David Bowie did a song called Screwball Scramble to go with it.
It'll sound like his 1967 stuff, if you've heard that, which is like all whimsical.
Yeah. Exactly.
When he was singing songs about gnomes and stuff.
Screwball Scramble is the kind of song title that you can imagine someone committing some murders inspired by.
You're singing in the Rain again. Andrew, you said you've seen the production, the making of several times, which I think I've seen once, but don't have a recurring memory of. I probably watched it on the DVD when the DVD came out, and you definitely hardcored the museum. So, you want to throw out some fun trivia?
Yeah. Well, the most kind of fascinating part in terms of puppetry would probably be the Fireys, right? Because these are puppets that involve a few different types of puppetry. Because essentially they're like, rod puppets or whatever, but the body parts all kind of change around and fly around a live character, a live actor. So Connolly's interacting with all these creature parts flying around while they're singing and dancing. It's like really, really incredible. And so all the dancers that operated the puppets are they're in black costume, like like a traditional, like a, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's a type of puppetry where you see the person on stage, but they're just dressed in black, so you're supposed to ignore the fact that you're basically watching a ninja holding a puppet.
Right, yeah. That's obviously a big thing in like Japanese theater.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how, and Henson, just being a student of all types of puppetry, he employed every single thing that he'd ever seen throughout the making of this movie and of Dark Crystal. And so there are a combination of things that needed to be done. And so when we talk about CGI, the only thing there is that the toolbox is kind of unlimited. You can make anything happen and control the way it looks. But something like the Fireys, because they were limited by what types of movement they could physically do and what the characters would have to then be built like in order to perform these things, the result is this weird looking thing that you have there. So it all figured into the design. And I think the physics of it, if you're watching it, it's like truly amazing, even though clearly there's, they had to do it all in front of the screen and then they superimposed the background. But I'm just, every time I watch them doing it, like, even if the background wasn't there, and even if you're just sitting there watching them do it on a stage, it's still like this, I don't know, very magical, just a very brilliant kind of a thing that's happening.
I think it's a classic thing, right? That the limitations often breed the most interesting visuals and stuff. That one of the problems with CG is because there's anything is possible, no one bothers to sit down and think of something. The classic complaint, right, of the DC movie that ends with fighting a big CG monster.
Yeah,
it's because they were just like, well, we can do it in post.
I refer to it as
when you have to have the puppet on screen, there's no doing it in post. You got to build the puppet, and it's the first thing you do.
Yeah, Matt, what'd you say? You call it what?
The big brown thing at the end of the movies. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I mean, I could call it a turret,
not to take away from all the artistry.
There is artistry in CG, and there's a lot of great stuff gets done. I don't want to turn this into a, it's better in my day kind of a podcast, because
I love it. Still say they need something to go by, even in Cocaine Bear, which, by the way, that's a 5-star movie. I'm not even kidding. They had Andy Serkis's understudy performed as the bear, and he was as much as possible dressed as the bear, meaning he had these large extended arms and everything like that. And if you've seen the behind the scenes of the Apes movies,
yeah, Circus did the same thing. He had like the extended forearms so he could do the movements and stuff.
Yeah, Terry Notary. And so you know, all of that is wonderful. And I know Henson was all into what computers could do. He had one of the very first computer generated images in the title sequence of Labyrinth.
Yeah, with the owl.
That owl. And so, you know, it all is really incredible. But I would just say, in terms of puppetry, you can really watch the movie and enjoy it on a purely technical level. But the fact that it's also really dramatically engaging and funny, and the songs are great, I don't know. This is why I could see it 1,000 times, and each time I watch it, I'll notice something different, or, you know, focus on a certain thing, and just, I don't know. To me, these are big achievements in cinema. This and the Dark Crystal.
One thing I noticed, and I feel like there's a story here I don't remember. Maybe you do. Is I was looking at the credit names, and oh yeah, I know that guy. I know that guy. And one conspicuous not name missing from this movie. Do you know where? There's no Frank Oz, is there? I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, I just associate. You know, I guess I feel like they're Lennon and McCartney for puppetry in the '80s. So,
kind of, and without, you know, going back to
70s.
One of the books and looking it up why he wasn't in there. Frank Oz really was coming into his own by the middle '80s as a director. And so I would imagine he was off on some gig or another.
Because they definitely had a few people doing, you know, Oz-esque voices. I was like fully expecting to see him. We got, how do you say his name? Dave Golez? Is it Gonzo's guy?
Yeah, Dave Goles. Yeah, and
Goles,
Kevin Clash is there too on Labyrinth.
As a puppeteer, I noticed. I was actually noting that usually I recognize the puppeteer names and not the voice names.
Yeah. Sometimes it's got to do with where they film also, because, you know, Jim favored filming in the UK, and you know, that's where Froud and his family were, but also that's where the big studios were, where they could build this stuff out and spend months and months and months, because there wasn't as many competing productions. And so it's possible that just because a lot of the Fraggle Rock personnel are also involved in Labyrinth.
And anyway, I just brought him up because I just sent to Andrew. I sent you that the Muppets Go to Walt Disney World from 1990.
It's great.
Right? And I went even deeper down that particular rabbit hole and looked at some outtakes from it, and that was interesting because there was some with Kermit, you know, Jim Henson doing them, and when the take would be flubbed or something, oh okay, I'll try it again, it's fine, you know, just like kind of in I guess director mode, right? But or just he'd be a little bit like Kermit would like kind of die for a minute, right? But then there was an introduction with Michael Eisner where they're sitting in the Grand Floridian Hotel or whatever, and Michael Eisner kept fucking it up, right? So they had to do like 10 takes, and after every take, like Fozzie Bear would say something legitimately funny.
Yeah,
like after a third time, you know, just without a beat, it's like, can we get another guy to do this? You know.
Well, that's all. That's why I love Muppet gag reels so much, and why I love them doing like live television appearances and stuff like that. I mean, you just really see it is really its own. Muppet humor really is its own kind of thing. It's like a well-established thing, and I for one never tire of it.
And
it's
I feel
the
like
equivalent for me is I have an endless supply of jokes I can make because I'm bald. And the same gag of like, you know, just the same old like, oh, well, I don't need any shampoo. These jokes, they just don't get old.
Plus, you figure nothing changes about the puppetry to the, you know, in terms of how physically close all the performers are. So you get really comfortable with each other just by, you know, just as a result of that.
You're all under that same table.
Bit twister going on down there,
yeah, and everybody's arms are up so you can smell everybody's everything.
On a hot set. Yeah, that sounds horrible. Okay.
No one's straight in the Muppet hole.
I got like 6 minutes.
Yeah, I did look in the clock. Anyway, I guess my main point for that tangent was just I wonder if the Frank Oz touch would have made this movie I mean, I like the movie, of course, but a little better.
I don't know. I mean, I really do feel I feel like it's in order to be this Python Muppet hybrid, I think there was kind of a sweet spot that they hit.
Yeah, I guess the Terry Jones sort of fills in for that particular spot. But with timing in mind, any other final thoughts on Labyrinth?
I mean, I don't think anyone is listening to this who needed us to tell them to watch Labyrinth. So it's more of a just like a love-in. But yeah, it is. I think it's sometimes we come to a film like from this sort of period that I didn't see as a kid, and there is a bit of like, I mean, I guess I can see why you liked it, but I think this film, because it does have something interesting to say, and because it's weird in a way that's like that does touch on creepy at times, and like I can imagine the kid who this gave nightmares to, right? It's still fun to watch when you see it for the first time when you're like 22 years old. So like, I don't be afraid to just put this on for people. If you're a kid who did grow up watching Labyrinth and now you've got like a partner or someone who hasn't seen it, show it to them. They'll love it. And if they don't love it, dump them.
I was going to say, I don't think in my life now at age 46, I know anyone who doesn't like Labyrinth. I've really taken care of my boundaries and stuff. So all that has been taken
cut
care
toxic
of.
people out of your life, you know?
That's right.
By toxic people, I mean people who don't like Labyrinth.
Well, you're only going to know me and so well, and you're only going to get close to me so much if you don't think my jokes are funny, and my jokes are all rooted in Muppet humor.
Yeah, I remember your kill switches in the past, especially when you were young and dating, were basically Hendrix and the Muppets were the deal breakers.
Oh my God, I kicked somebody out of my car that said something bad about Hendrix. Yes. Like I made them walk. And I was dating them at the time when that happened.
Not after that.
Not after that. God, the nerve of that. I'm still mad about that.
Matt, you've opened a wound.
Oh my God. Whoa.
While you're stewing in that, can you tell us what's up in mid-March? Gonzoriffic. This is
okay.
Next episode, so we're pretty live.
Yeah, so Gonzoriffic, I'm actually working on my first book. It'll be a photography book, classifiable under feminist literature. And so, yeah, by that time, I'll be deep into traveling and doing the photography and the interview portions for that. And I'll give more details as we get into it. But for right now, yeah, it's a book that I'm making for my daughter and my wife and my mom and just a lot of the influential women in my life. And so it's a pretty serious endeavor, and we'll see how it shakes out. I think it's the one idea I've ever had that people beyond like the cult film audience will enjoy. So I might even make $1 off of it. Who knows?
I did a noise like, you're doing a book. Because I remember that I'd seen all of this on Instagram, so I did actually know.
Okay. Oh yeah, I've seen the posts. Luke, our thing, I guess.
Yeah, if you enjoyed this podcast, you can find it on MLSFS Pod on Twitter, on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you like and subscribe, rate and review. And, make sure you are following us on them social medias and keeping an eye on the feed, because we may be changing up our gig a little bit in the coming weeks. Don't worry, you'll still have a podcast from me and Matt and guests every week talking about movies. But we've got a bit more of an interesting idea that we might do instead of just picking sci-fi films out of our ass every week.
I'll go ahead and explain it real quick because I already did on the Occult Disney one. So, the functioning title, which is not 100%, but I think we are going with Films and Filth, the Citizen Kane of podcasting, where we will be looking at the top 100 and the bottom 100 films as rated by IMDb users, because Luke loves rating systems.
I do not.
Did you tell Luke how many of the bottom 100 I have? I bet you I've got like easily 50 of them. I own those.
So Andrew has requested to be the bottom bitch. He requested none of the top 100 movies.
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't think I've even seen all of them. So
I've seen very few of them. That's what I was talking about earlier. I've just seen films with robots and dinosaurs.
So we're still going to get to science fiction. We have to do all 3 Star Wars. We have to do the first one again, but maybe. But yeah, there's some sci-fi in there we'll be doing, and we also have to do Witness for the prosecution, and the Human Caterpillars 2 and 3, but not 1.
The Human Centipede.
Centipede, thank you. Okay.
The human caterpillar is probably a
No,
more
for-
uplifting story.
No, for
The very hungry
for
human
Manos
caterpillar.
the Hands of Fate, I can get you hooked up with guests like that were either their family members made that movie, or I know also the person that's done the puppet version, the stage version of Manos, and I know the person that directed the sequel, Manos Returns.
Maybe
yeah.
that's going to be in 2027 though.
That's fine. Whenever you get to it.
Okay, we'll find our way there to Manos, the Hands of Fate, through the challenges of the labyrinth.
Well, I'm
All right,
gonna go
Joe.
travel
I
through a
gotta peace
labyrinth on
out.
my own
Yeah,
because I
you're
need to
peacing
pee.
out. Okay, I'll stop recording and stop the meeting. Then see y'all later.